Hey guys, I wanted to make this video to check out the performance of Dead Trigger 2 with ultra settings on my Nexus 4. Now to do this I've installed a modified APK which I will include in the description so you can try it for yourself. So yeah, this allows us to unlock the ultra settings that would normally only be available on Tegra 4 devices and some iOS devices like the iPhone 5S. You can see I'm running FPS meter to check out the performance, and you can see it is set to ultra high in the actual game. Now, I'm going to be doing a sort of split screen thing here with the iPhone 5S. The Nexus 4 is on the left, the iPhone 5S on the right. Now, the reason I did this was to see if there were any differences in the effects level between the two. In terms of the performance, I can pretty much guarantee you the iPhone 5S will be smoother. It's a brand new phone with less resolution to push, and let's not forget the Nexus 4 is a year old, and that's by no means taking anything away from the Nexus 4. It's just the way things go, but nonetheless it's going to be interesting to see. Okay, so here we go. You can see the iPhone 5S was very quick to load. In terms of the effects level, it does look like they're both running the same effects. So you can see the grass here, that wasn't on the Nexus 4 when we ran it on the high level settings, and the same thing goes for the water effects as well. So you can see they are pretty much running the same effects, at least as much as I can tell you. And yeah, you'll notice a difference between the screen colors, and I am using the stock kernel here, so these are the stock colors for the Nexus 4. That's why it looks a little bit washed out compared to the 5S. If you're using PA's colors, it will look a lot better. In terms of performance, yes, the 5S is very smooth as we'd expect, but let's look at the Nexus 4. Now you can see it is kind of struggling a little bit, and you can see the frame rate is around the 20s, sometimes dipping into the low teens, around the 13s, 14s. It's not exactly a slideshow, but it's not the best experience either. It does feel a little bit laggy, especially outside when there's a lot of effects running. So if we take a look at the FPS meter, we can see the average is 22, the maximum is 35, and the minimum is 15. So it is kind of struggling with these ultra effects that are meant to be used on the Tegra 4. I think if you're using a Snapdragon 800 device like the LG G2, you will be fine. The Adreno 330 should be able to handle these without a problem. The Nexus 4 with its Adreno 320 is struggling a little bit. It is playable sort of, but you're going to get some lag. It's not going to be the best experience. So as we go through this next section here, you'll notice the Nexus 4 has quite a big frame drop. I think it drops to around 11 to 10 FPS, and the responsiveness of the controls, everything pretty much becomes unplayable. It really isn't a very nice experience. So when there's a lot of zombies around and you're outside, you can see the water effects on the floor. It does struggle quite a lot, and it really does become pretty much unplayable here. Now again, I will mention that these effects aren't actually specifically designed for the GPU on the Nexus 4, so there might be a big case here for optimization. The iPhone 5S on the right does have a lot of optimization, as we already know. The Nexus 4 on the other hand doesn't have any optimizations for these ultra settings, as they're not officially supported by the developers. So even when there's not a great deal of stuff actually going on, you can see that the Nexus 4 frame rate does jump around quite a lot. Sometimes it hits the 30s for a split second, then it will jump back to 46, go lower to around 20, even when there isn't any zombies. It's when the zombies really start to get in the frame that things slow down a little bit too much for my liking. So in my opinion, guys, I would suggest not using the ultra settings on the Nexus 4 if you're using the stock Google kernel. If you're using an overclock kernel, they may well be better, but you can see here it's basically averaging around 22 to 24 frames per second, which doesn't lead to the best experience. You may as well have it on the high settings and just have a better, smoother experience gameplay. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. One thing I will say about the 5S performance, it's been very, very smooth. It seems to be locked in around 60 FPS, even when there's a lot of zombies on the screen. So really impressive there from the iPhone 5S. Peace out.